各位义顺集选区的选民，晚上好。我是严彦松，我是工人党在东海岸集选区的候选人。Residents of Yishun GRC, good evening. My name is Gerard Giam, and I'm a candidate for East Coast GRC. Now, during the first rally, I shared with you why it is important to elect a sizable number of credible opposition MPs into Parliament. This is so that we can better scrutinize government policies, build up a credible alternative, and ensure Singapore against a decline in the ruling party. But what is a sizable number? From 1981 to 1991, we had only 1 or 2 opposition MPs. Was that enough? From 1991 to 1997, we had 4 opposition MPs, but it fell back to 2 in 1998. Was that enough? In the last parliament, we had 7 elected opposition MPs. Now, do you think that was enough? Let me share with you some numbers to give you a sense of how many opposition MPs are needed to properly empower you, the people. To pass a law in Parliament, at least 45 MPs are needed, or more than half the total number of MPs present. To prevent the government from changing the constitution and introducing things like the GRC system, we need at least 30 elected MPs. To have an opposition shadow each ministry, we need 16 MPs. But that is not even enough to shadow all the ministers of state, parliamentary secretaries currently in the government. So, my friends, 7 is not enough. We need many more opposition MPs in Parliament to form a proper check on the power of the PAP. Come September 11th, we ask you to vote all 28 Workers' Party candidates into Parliament. Having 7, 16, or 28 Workers' Party MPs in Parliament will not cause gridlock, because we are a party that puts the country's interests first and foremost. We will debate policy issues rationally and responsibly, and we will not resort to personal attacks. Tonight, I want to continue sharing with you more policy proposals from the Workers' Party's manifesto that will better the lives of Singaporeans, including ordinary citizens like you and me. The PAP has responded to our proposal for the introduction of a national minimum wage. I'm glad we have gotten this important conversation going. It is an issue that affects the lives of well over 110,000 full-time workers who earn less than $1,000 a month. The PAP's counter-arguments revolve around the following. 1, it will cause job losses. 2, we already have workfare. And 3, we have the progressive wage model. Let me address all 3 in turn. First, on job losses. There have been many studies that shown that minimum wages set at modest levels do not lead to job losses. A modest level means less than 50% of median full-time income. In Singapore, this would be $1,885. The minimum wage we are proposing is about $1,000 a month. This is only 27% of the median income, well within the modest range. So there should be no fear of job losses. Furthermore, this will be an ideal time to introduce a minimum wage because we are reducing the inflow of foreign labor, so there are more jobs than there are people to fill them. Raising wages will attract more Singaporeans to the workforce to fill these positions. It could also improve productivity and reduce turnover, as workers are more motivated in their jobs and are less likely to switch jobs. It is therefore a win-win for workers, employers, and the economy. Second, on workfare, which is a wage supplement for low-income workers. The Workers' Party supports workfare. We are not proposing that the minimum wage replaces workfare, but complements it. A minimum wage together with workfare will ensure that both employers and the government do their part to uplift the incomes of our low-income workers. A worker on the minimum wage should still continue receiving workfare, although the Workers' Party proposes that we double the cash proportion of workfare so that workers have more disposable income to spend on their daily needs. Third, on the progressive wage model, or PWM. I debated this in Parliament last year, and I won't go into details. The PWM is essentially a minimum wage for specific industry sectors. Its introduction is an admission by the PAP government that we cannot wait indefinitely for wages at the bottom to rise naturally. However, the PWM will be implemented in only 3 industry sectors, covering 70 to 80,000 workers. That still leaves 30,000 workers who will continue earning less than $1,000 a month. A national minimum wage will ensure that all Singapore workers earn a decent living wage to meet their needs. I would now like to turn to another issue that affects many Singaporeans: public transport, and in particular, MRT breakdowns. Like many of you, I don't own a car, and I usually take public transport. I got caught in both the massive MRT breakdowns in December 2011 and the even bigger one in July this year, and many other delays in between. I'm sure many of you will understand that frustrating feeling of having to get out of a stalled train, take a long route to your destination, and being late for work. I asked the Transport Minister in Parliament whether there was a delay in the replacement of the aging parts of the MRT system that could be the cause of the frequent breakdowns that we have been experiencing in the last few years. I discovered some surprising things along the way. I found that a key component of the MRT tracks, called the sleepers, are designed to last 15 to 25 years. They have to be replaced when they are near the end of lifespan, or when they show signs of significant wear and tear. Do you know when the sleepers in the north-south and east-west MRT lines started to be replaced? In December 2012, more than 25 years after operation started. And it takes another 4 years to replace all the sleepers. The replacement program for the third rail, which was the likely cause of the July incident, was also delayed until 2017. The signaling system, too, had a lifespan of 15 years, but the contractor was not appointed to replace it until 2012, when it was 25 years old. The problem, it seems, is not just that maintenance of the MRT lines was lacking, but that SMRT and the government, which owns the rail assets, did not adequately plan for the renewal and replacement of the aging rail assets before the end of life. Is this what we call forward thinking and anticipating problems before they occur? The Workers' Party calls for a not-for-profit, government-owned National Transport Corporation to own and manage all rail and bus assets. This will minimize costs and achieve efficiency in the management of these assets. A dedicated entity that manages rail and bus assets will better ensure that maintenance and renewal are done in a timely fashion, insulated from the profit pressures that public transport operators face. Fellow Singaporeans, these are just a few of the over 130 proposals that the Workers' Party has put forward in our manifesto. Our candidates will be sharing more of these proposals in this and subsequent rallies. In doing so, I hope that you can see that we are a party that brings practical proposals that will improve your lives. Vote for the Workers' Party, empower your future. 投工人党一票，掌握民权，把握未来，membebaskan masa depan Anda. Thank you.